Rodney Hunt here with GooseandTutor.com, and I'm here with Eddie Chambers, Fast Eddie Chambers. Eddie, this Super 6 tournament is something to be said about this tournament. The best of the best at the middleweight division.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly the best of the best, I think. But I do think Andre Ward is the best of the best, and saying that, I think he has the upper hand in this fight. I think it's going to be very interesting. Alan Green is a top-level fighter. I mean, he's proven it. He only had one defeat over the course of his fairly long career. Finally getting his opportunity. I know he's going to come to fight, but I'm pretty sure, you know what I mean, that Andre's going to represent not only his hometown but Goose and Tudor family as well. Pretty good.
You know, it's one thing to be said, like Edison Miranda and Alan Green had to fight. Edison Miranda won.
Right.
That doesn't matter.
Right.
Because Andre Ward beat Edison Miranda, but those are two different people, two different times. But the styles makes fights. Mm-hmm. In this case, you have a guy who's more of a brawler. Right. Then you have Andre Ward, a guy who's a technical, savvy boxer. Nothing like being an Olympic-trained boxer also.
Right. I mean, definitely. I mean, when you look at boxing, I mean, you cannot say, oh, just because one guy beat another guy, that he's definitely going to beat this guy. It doesn't happen. If you look at the Mosley and when you look at the
like Dan Goosen over there messing with us. That Dan Goosen over there messing with us.
See? But it's clear, like if you see the Cotto, Margarito, and Mosley situation. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a trio of fighters that, you know, one guy beat one guy and then the other guy beat the other guy. You know what I'm saying? It's a style matchup thing in boxing, more so than I think than any other sport. Right. You know what I mean? I mean, you look at basketball, you look at football and things like that, where most of the time, you know, styles make it, but there are some times when a team is just clearly better. And also in boxing, but I think boxing is a style situation. You can have a guy who's not even on the level of another guy, but just because he holds that certain style, then you might have the guy's number. So that, I think, makes more of a difference in this situation. But I still think Andre Ward is just one of those situations where he's just a little bit better than the rest of the competition.
I mean, that's saying a lot, because even in Andre's last fight with Kessler had 40 fights, Andre had 20 fights. I mean, you look at that fight, it was almost a mismatch.
Exactly. I mean, you got to look at a guy who hasn't lost since he was, 12 years old? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I mean, nobody wants to lose. I mean, it's hard to be the guy who hasn't lost and doesn't want to lose. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So in this situation, I think that's where it's an exception to the rules. I mean, Kessler clearly has the experience in the professional division advantage, but you got whereas Andre Ward has the talent edge. He has a lot of experience in his own right and really getting indoctrinated in a slow way, like most fighters should do. Take their time as a professional instead of just rushing into things. And I think, you know, he's taken the best possible approach, improved to the best of his ability, and now he's ready to take on the world.
There's another fighter on this card that's a little closer to home to you. You know, it digs deep from home. Talk to me about your brother and his fight on this card.
Well, he hasn't really fought but one time outside of the blue, and that was still in Philadelphia. So he's been in Philly. He's been working real hard. Now, don't get me wrong, Blue Horizon is a tough place to fight, regardless of how many fights you have how you have there. It's not a very unforgiving crowd, very boxing savvy crowd. So if you don't bring it, they're gonna let you know.
Right.
So, but this is something that is a little different for him. You know what I mean? He likes the spotlight. He likes that, you know, people watching him and paying attention to him, and that's good. Now he's got a chance to really show what he got. He's fighting a tough guy. This Alex Torres supposed to be pretty tough, and I've seen him. He's fought Victor Ortiz. He fought a host of, a lot of names that we've seen him on tape, and I think it's about time for Steve to show what he has. And I'm fairly confident, more than fairly confident, I'm very confident that he's going to go in here and dominate this fight, come out with a victory.
All right, like for me, and how is it for you, man, when you're in the corner or for somebody now, instead of in the ring? There's only so much tutelage you can do in the corner.
Yes, and it's worse because you have no effect on the fight besides saying, hey, look, do this, hey, look, do that, and hopefully they respect what you say and go out there and try it. But it's more nerve-wracking for me to watch than to be in there, because at least when I'm in there, like I said, I can affect what happens, what's going on inside the ring, and not to be so worried because you're in there. But when you're outside, there's no control. You're just like, man, I hope he does this. I hope this. I hope that. I hope this. I hope that. And I mean, of course, having the right preparation and making sure he's prepared to the best of his ability makes it a little easier to deal with. And I think he's more than ready. And you wait till you see him. He's in great shape, and he's ready to take on this fight. No problem.